Hi, I'm Mark Furman. I'm a partner at Tarlow, Breed, Hart and Rogers. We're thrilled to be hosting On the Record. We represent business owners and love to hear from business owners about what's going on with their business. We also enjoy interviewing their advisors to help us represent our clients effectively.
Perfect. Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. Again, my name is Jeffrey Davis. I'm the host, also chairman of the board and founder of Mage LLC. Always interested in entrepreneurship. We're being hosted again by the law firm of Tarlow, Breed, Hart and Rogers, and that means this segment is On the Record and also co-hosted by Mark Furman of Tarlow, Breed, Hart and Rogers. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, Jeffrey. Great to be with you. Looking forward to hearing from our next guest.
Great. And our next guest is Darryl Fess, President, Brookline Bank. Welcome, Darryl.
Happy to be here today.
Thank you very much. Tell us about Brookline Bank. I think we've all driven through Coolidge Corner and seen your storefront.
Yeah, that's a great location. We moved there into that location about 2.5 years ago. We were in Coolidge Corner, but just a much more prominent location in the SS Pierce building. Brookline Bank has 25 branches in and around Boston. It's a full-service commercial bank. You know, some people think of us as the old Brookline Savings Bank, which, that still lingers, but, we've worked hard to reshape our bank into a true commercial bank, offering a full variety of products to consumers as well as to businesses.
How big is the bank?
The bank is $4.7 billion, and it's part of the Brookline Bank Corp holding company. So the holding company has 3 banks. It's Brookline Bank, which is the lead bank and the largest bank. We're also affiliated with Bank Rhode Island and First Ipswich Bank up on the North Shore.
Wow. So what's your background? Have you always been a banker? Well, not all. You could not always have been.
Pretty much I've always been a banker. I graduated from Boston University with a degree in economics. I ended up going there because my dad was an electrician, so I got to go to school free, which was fantastic because I had a choice. I could go to BU or I could go to BU. So I did.
And after a worldwide search,
clearly your father was a real.
That's right.
Clearly your father had a lot of influence over you.
Well, otherwise I was going to have to pay for myself.
Right.
So that worked out pretty good. So I graduated with a degree in economics, and right after I graduated, I went to a management training program at a little bank that is non-existent anymore called the Guarantee First Trust Company. And I went into their management training program and did things like be a teller, be a head teller, be a platform person opening up accounts for consumers when they came in. I took a little hiatus out of the banking industry for a while, and I was in the high-tech business, and that collapsed, and I got back into banking.
Well, I have background representing Guarantee First Trust Company back in the day. We were talking about, before we went on the record, on air about, the banking crisis in the early 90s, and Guarantee First Trust Company was another bank that was closed in probably around 1992. I used to do litigation for Guarantee First Trust Company. Yeah.
It wasn't my fault. I was long gone.
That's right. Nor mine.
So the banking industry, quite competitive today.
It's very competitive.
So how do you feel, what do you feel are the most important things that keep you in the marketplace?
So I think, what we focus on at Brookline Bank is a culture where people serve the clients and are nice to each other at work. So, I have chats with all of my employees, and we talk about, how we need to behave and present ourselves, both with our clients and working together. So I think, having a place where people like to work exudes that energy to the clients, and they feel it. And so a high level of personal service, we do have a call center, but we take the calls in the branches. Our branch managers, our cash management people have direct phone lines, and they're reachable, and they'll call you back.
What are the biggest challenges that a bank your size has in the current environment, both regulatory and economic?
So on the regulatory side, I think, one of the hard things to get your hands around are some of the compliance issues, because some of the things that they look for are really minute details. And, you take some bankers that, can maybe sound like the wrong phrase, are a little entrepreneurial, and they're out there trying to find business, and their first goal is not to think about those little details. They're out there trying to find business. So building the processes to make sure that those things get handled and keep our regulators happy is very important to us.
And what about in terms of economic conditions?
So, the way I look at our growth at Brookline Bank, I think we're really in a good position, because we're not, a bank with 2 branches and, $150 million. You're seeing a lot of those merge with other banks because of the economies of scale necessary. I think we're at a good size to be able to leverage what we have and service the clients and grow the bank. We are we're working hard to compete, and I look at our competition, right? And people say to you, who are your competitors? Is it Rockland Trust, and is it Eastern Bank? And although we go up against those sometimes, I think that our biggest competitors are the large banks. The big banks in America control about 70% of the deposits, so that's probably the top 13 banks control 70% of the deposits. And then there are about 5,000 of the rest of us that have 30% of the deposits. So I will compete against Rockland or Eastern or Boston Private Bank when I'm trying to take customers away from those big banks. I don't go looking to steal their customers away, because I think they're similar in size to us. They have great cultures. I know the leaders of most of those banks, and they're good organizations. So unless they have a client that for some reason is disgruntled and looking to make a move, if they come to us, then that's great. But we're not out looking to compete with other community and local banks.
I don't know if this is a question you don't want me to ask, but in a world where there's a lot of money available, and you've gotten past that sort of small business sort of leverage point, and you really you're what I would call an ankle biter. You're irritating the larger banks. I would assume that you're, like a lot of companies of your size, one that the larger banks would rather see go out of business through acquisition, and you've got to fend that off. But I think you're still an important part of the economy, because you represent innovation and a community and a customer and community service that a lot of the large national banks can't do. Have I opened up a topic for you?
No, I think that's absolutely true. I think that banks of our size can do a lot of good for the local economy. We can make substantial size loans to real estate developers, to operating companies, who employ people in the state of Massachusetts and in the city of Boston. We also are really local. The people that are in the branches are involved in their communities. My other bankers, whether they're commercial bankers or they're business bankers, small business bankers, they're the same way. They're out there, they're networking, they're known by people in the community, and so I do think we play an important role. How much irritation we cause to the big banks, it seems to me that some of the big banks have taken a different approach, and they kind of want to target much larger clients, because they see ancillary revenue from, helping that company go public, or getting them some sort of an equity investment. So they're really shooting for the bigger companies, companies that probably would never bank with Brookline just because of their size.
One of my concerns about the economy is, whether companies are over leveraged, and when interest rates went up, and we saw what happened to the stock market in the last quarter of 2018, and what's your sense of, it seems to me that interest rates are still at historically low levels, and I'm concerned about what will happen if they were ever to be normalized.
That's true. I've been worrying about that for about 8 years. And we haven't seen the tide turn. It felt like for a minute there, the Fed was going to go on their consistent increasing
On a
of
run.
interest rates. Yeah, but then they stopped. And
Right.
they've kind of indicated that this year, probably no more interest rate increases, and if they see some recessionary stuff
But
in
they got a
the
market
economy-
pushback. They tried to start easing it up, and it felt like they were being told by the economy, "Not now, leave us alone." I
Yeah.
sort of felt that way.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. So, I do worry about, someday interest rates will rise, but I think that's going to mean we have a stronger economy. So it's probably okay, and as long as you don't have some sort of hyperinflation, crazy stuff.
So I think my first house I was 13-something%, and my second one 11-something%. Have basically close to free money for the last 10 years.
Not
And
very true.
It's
So, again, I want to remind everybody, we're speaking with Darryl Fess, President, Brookline Bank, 25 branches, open for business, commercial, and also for retail business. And here with Mark Furman from the law firm Tarlow, Breedhart and Rogers. Darryl, if someone wants to reach you, how would they do that?
You can find me anywhere. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on our website. All my contact information is there. My cell phone number is out there. I take most of those calls if I kind of know who they are. There's a lot of robocalls happening these days, so you might let it go to voicemail, but I will call you back.
So let me ask you a question. I got trained by my father, and he always used to say to me, no job is too small for you. I got in here this morning. I was ready to start moving furniture. I did move furniture in here. And do you still ever get behind the counter?
I have not. Well, I go to the branches. I have not been behind the counter, and as I say to the tellers and the branch people, I won't know what to do. But
That I believe.
I believe in the philosophy. Is one of the things when I talk with people about culture. And what do we do around here? We do windows. That's okay. We do whatever needs to be done to make things right for our
Great.
customers.
It's great having you on the show. We hope you come back again because the economy is always changing, and we think you're a great thought leader. So good to have you back.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Mind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs at the law firm of Tarlow, Breedhart and Rogers. We're going to take a break. We'll be right